Now, when again, in your transaction templates, you can go to templates here, go to our transaction. Actually, to me, it's actually easiest just to stick with my purchase agreement here and say, what are my associated templates? So do I need a material contract schedule? Okay, let's create that. So we've got our information here. Now, do we have a description of the contract? And what is the buyer going to assume? So what contracts do we have? What material contracts do we have? And that information you're going to have to get from the seller. So we save this as is and take a look at it. You'll see that, there's nothing on here, really, description of the contract. What I like to do is have the sellers tell me all of the things that are important that the buyer is going to need to take over, like the domain names, if they're doing any kind of social media marketing or SEO, or let's say they have a piece of equipment that is under some type of a lease that needs to be assumed, or just anything where it's a contract or a service that is used by the business in the business operations, where it would be somewhat critical if that was lost. Okay, so software, if in a manufacturing company, maybe they have some CAD software or some type of other software that they use that's critical for the business, and maybe they have maintenance contracts on those. So the maintenance contracts are going to need to be renewed. They're not necessarily assumed, but the buyer is going to assume responsibility for renewing those maintenance contracts and things. So I personally use this form a little bit differently. I use it as a combination of disclosure and letting the buyer know what they're going to need in order to continue operating the business successfully, as well as are they going to assume this, yes or no? And there are sometimes, some software, like I remember selling a law firm where one of the software was Adobe Acrobat. Well, that's pretty common, and most attorneys already have that, and the attorneys that bought this firm already had it. So it was listed that there was a subscription for Adobe Acrobat. The buyer was not going to assume that because they already had their own. But on the other hand, there was also a subscription for Infusionsoft, which is marketing software, and that they were definitely going to assume because they needed the workflows and the marketing that was going on. So that is the material contract schedule.